Founded upon the Stepstones as a Valyrian military outpost designed to control trade along the Narrow Sea, the settlement soon blossomed into the city of Tyrosh when merchants discovered the region was home to several snail species, which could produce valuable dyes of many colors for trade. After the doom of Valyria, some few dragons and noble lords survived in Tyrosh, but the population rose up to kill them and declare independence. During the Century of Blood, the powerful city Valentis captured Lys and Myr before attempting to conquer Tyrosh as well. Fortunately for the Tyroshi, this was considered a step too far by many, and great alliances formed to aggressively oppose Volantene expansion, with Pentos, Braavos, the Stormlands of Westeros, the Targaryens of Dragonstone, the Rebels of Myr, and the Rebels of Lys, all contributing to their enemies' defeat in the south, while Qohor and Norvo stopped their fleet in the north. Some centuries later, Tyrosh became home to the Westerosi exiles of House Blackfyre and their supporters, only to be eventually conquered by Meleys the Monstrous during the Fifth Blackfyre Rebellion, also known as the War of the Ninepenny Kings. Yet when the armies of Westeros descended upon the Stepstones in 260 AC, the Band of Nine was defeated and Tyrosh regained its independence. Ruled by an Archon chosen from the most influential noble families, Tyrosh produced impressive armor and was heavily involved in the trade of slaves, dyes, and pear brandy. A well-known figure from Tyrosh was Daario Naharis, captain of the Stormcrow's mercenary company and ally to Daenerys Targaryen. Known as the Quarrelsome Daughters of Valyria, the sister cities Myr, Lys, and Tyrosh shared much in the way of culture, customs, language, religion, and a desire for trade. Yet after the fall of Old Valyria, the sister cities entered into an endless series of wars and raids, desperately fighting for possession of the fertile disputed lands, which then became a bloody war zone brimming with soldiers and mercenaries. Despite this history of violence and animosity, Myr, Tyrosh, and Lys set aside their differences to form the Kingdom of the Three Daughters in 96 AC, but after several disastrous wars, the Triarchy dissolved in 130 AC, and the cities once again turned on each other, fighting over the disputed lands for many years to come. The youngest of the Free Cities, Braavos was known as the Bastard Daughter because it was never a part of the Freehold, instead founded by escaped slaves who killed their masters and stole their ships to flee Valyria. Finding an isolated lagoon in the northern mountains, these escaped slaves settled the region and immediately outlawed slavery, naming it the First Law of Braavos. Keeping their existence hidden for over a century, the Sea Lord Uthor Ozalin eventually sent ships far and wide to proclaim the existence of their city. To avoid the wrath of Old Valyria, financial settlements were offered to the descendants of those killed, paying for the theft of their ships while refusing to compensate the loss of slaves. Uninterested in conflict so far north, the Valyrians accepted the coin and offered no trouble. Fighting many wars over the years, some speak of a battle in which Braavos defeated the Kingdom of Sarnor, sinking the last enemy fleet at Bitterweed Bay. After the doom of Valyria, Braavos exerted increasing control over trade in the Narrow Sea, involving themselves in the wars and politics of neighboring lands, including Westeros, the Stepstones, and other free cities like Lys, sending 100 warships to help liberate their island and halt Volantene expansion into the west. Becoming the richest and most powerful of the free cities, Braavos prospered thanks in part to the highly successful Iron Bank, which loaned money to foreign powers, as well as their robust sea and trade culture, with their ships sailing as far east as Ashai. A canal city, they built the Titan of Braavos at the entrance to the harbor, and were ruled by a Sea Lord who held the position for life, protected by a champion called the First Sword of Braavos. The Sea Lord was chosen by a number of magisters and key holders who comprised the city's powerful aristocracy. Known as a place of religious diversity, with temples and shrines of many faiths, perhaps the most infamous was the House of Black and White, where a group of assassins called the Faceless Men worshipped Death, who they named the Many-Faced God. In addition to producing expert ships and dark purple dyes, Braavosi were proficient fishermen, trading in many varieties of fish, as well as oysters, eels, clams, rays, crabs, and crawfish. A diverse people, largely tolerant of others, they treated courtesans like princesses and developed a swordsman culture that saw Braavos wandering the streets in flamboyant colors searching for a fight. They also invented a water dance fight and fencing style that emphasized speed, balance, grace, and accuracy. Well-known figures of Braavosi heritage included Syrio Forel, a former First Sword and mentor to Arya Stark, and Tycho Nestoris, a representative of the Iron Bank who made deals with Jon Snow of the Night's Watch and King Stannis Baratheon. In addition to the widely recognized 9 free cities, other potential settlements nearly joined their ranks, like in the southern continent of Sothorios, where the city Gogossos was founded by the ancient Giscari Empire before becoming a penal colony for the Valyrian Freehold, and a pirate's den after the Doom. Growing rich off the slave trade during the Century of Blood, Gogossos was considered by some as the 10th free city, until they were devastated by the Red Death Plague, seeing 9 of every 10 die in agony. Yet another near claimant was located in the Dothraki Sea, where Essaria was founded as a Valyrian colony, but was eventually granted the right to govern themselves, prospering greatly from trade with the Kingdom of Sarnor. But everything changed when the Doom of Valyria ushered in the Century of Blood, as both the Kingdom of Sarnor and Essaria were destroyed by the Dothraki horse lords rampaging through Essos. After their fall, the Dothraki renamed Essaria to Vez Kadok, meaning the City of Corpses, but many others refer to these ruins as the Lost Free City. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Sir Daeron of House Ashford, Fred Heartless, Knight of Iron and Ice, Zong the Black Wolf, and Mamoru the Obscured Hermit Alchemist. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos, vote on future content, and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.